You're watching RDMG TV.
And joining me here in studio again as we continue our series on our focus on energy is Kevin Cunningham with Plains All-American Pipeline. And Kevin, it's great to have you in studio here with us this morning. We're here to talk about Plains, and they are very visible here in our company, in our community. But let's just start a little bit about the company overall. I know that you guys are huge on a national scale and even international scale to some extent, or are you all just domestic? Or
pretty much domestic, North America. We're in 40 U.S. states and 5 Canadian provinces, and that's pretty much where our operations are. We're a Fortune 100 company. We have our headquarters out of Houston. We have about 18,000 miles of pipeline and about 115 million barrels of storage.
Wow, and a lot of that is expanded over the past several years.
Oh yes, yeah. We started in 1992 here in Cushing. That's where we got our start, and through acquisition and organic growth, we've grown into one of the largest independent crude oil companies in North America.
Right. Well, I know you guys have built a lot of tanks and storage, and is that kind of your focus right here in Cushing?
That is our focus. Like I said, 1992, started construction on the first 18 tanks, and over time through, we're in phase 13 now. We have 74 tanks, and we've grown to about 20 million barrels of storage.
Wow. And so what I'm kind of learning through this series here a little bit is really all the pipelines are connected a little bit. Scheduling is always kind of a priority amongst the other pipeline companies here. Is that kind of the way? How does that work with Plains?
Well, Cushing is considered the crude oil hub in North America, and it's actually where the New York Mercantile Exchange sets the benchmark crude, which is called West Texas Intermediate, or WTI. And so the companies trade back and forth and buy and sell on the NYMEX, and crude oil flows into Cushing, and then that's the price is set here, and then it flows out to the refineries where it is refined into products like crude, like gasoline and diesel and so forth. And pipelines have certain capacity, and what the companies do is they'll nominate, usually at the beginning of the month, on the pipeline what they want to either send to Cushing or send out of Cushing, and then that's basically how you allocate the space on the pipeline.
Wow. So it's a really a complicated system, I guess, in some ways.
Oh, it is, yes.
And I know you have operators that are continually monitoring the flow, and tell me a little bit about their job or what they.
Well, here in Cushing, we have, as you might expect, with 74 tanks and 20 million barrels of storage, we have our control center here, and then each oil company has the same thing, and there's a lot of communication that goes back and forth between the oil companies. In Plains by itself, on a daily basis, there's about 1 million barrels that come into our terminal a day, and then 1 million barrels go out a day on average. And I'm sure that certain other companies have similar numbers as well. So you can imagine the logistics behind coordinating that, because our oil will go out on our pipelines and will go out on other companies' pipelines.
Right. I kind of imagine it, with the operators, it's almost like a flight control center. I mean, they're directing traffic coming in and coming out. Is that kind of the way that would work? Actually?
Exactly how it works.
Really? Yeah.
In fact, if you ever get a chance to come out and see our control center, it kind of looks like mission control.
Yeah.
A lot of big screens. We have several controllers that handle the operations within the terminal from tank to tank to tank. And then we also, once it leaves our terminal, our control center for our pipelines is actually out of Midland, Texas. Okay. And so there's a coordination that goes on between our control center and our Midland Control Center as well.
And then you have offices down in Houston as well, too? Is that
That's correct.
Your corporate office down there?
Yes.
Yeah. And I know Phil Smith used to be a resident here in Cushing, and known Phil for a long time, and I guess he's still kind of, is he kind of the regional director as well?
He's actually our VP of operations, so
Okay.
he's done really well.
Yeah. Great guy, good family.
Oh,
there.
great guy, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Sean Roberts used to be really here as well, and he was involved with SAC and the Safety Alliance of Cushing, which we're going to talk more about that later on in our series here. But Jerry Mackey is now the division manager for Plains. I think he took Sean's position.
He did. That transition just occurred. It'll be official the first part of June.
Okay. And tell me your position again and exactly what it is that you do.
Well, I'm the Director of Environmental and Regulatory Compliance, and basically we're charged with making sure that Plains operates in accordance with the regulations from agencies on a federal level like EPA and Department of Transportation, and then on a state level like Oklahoma Department of Environmental Quality and Oklahoma Corporation Commission. So basically we review the regs and design programs to comply with those regs, and then we also facilitate and oversee compliance throughout the company.
Is that just a nightmare all the time, trying to comply with the regulations and everything that comes down from EPA to...
It can be difficult at times, but you know, the regs are there for a reason. Usually they're promulgated because something happened, and it usually is something that was not good. Mm-hmm. And so you take something that was bad, and then you comply with that regulation, and you operate in a more safe manner, and that's what Plains is all about. We try our best to operate our assets in a safe manner.
Yeah. So are you just in charge of Cushing? Do you have quite an area that you work over?
Well, our divisions, there's 6 divisions, and they span the United States. As far as the U.S. goes, Canadian company is different, but my division is Mid-Continent Division, and it's primarily in the Mid-Continent area, which would be eastern Colorado, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, eastern Texas, Louisiana, and then pretty much all the way over to the Atlantic coast.
Wow. So I guess you get to go home once in a while.
Yeah. We're the largest division geographically, and probably a lot of other metrics as well.
Yeah. Well, Plains has had a tremendous impact in Cushing and been very visible in a lot of different aspects. And I know that you guys are involved with the community. You guys were actually one of the first ones to come on to help support Red Dirt Media Group when we started this, and I think part of that was to show the participation and want to be a part of the community, and saw this as an opportunity to do that. So we thank you for doing that, and appreciate Jerry and Sean and those guys have the initiative to let us be a part of that, and for you guys to help support what it is we're doing. Community-wise, I know there's a lot of companies that try to find ways to give back to the community and do several different things, and that goes as far as providing even time and equipment and different things, in times of need. A few years ago, we had a lot of wildfires and different things. I know a lot of the companies were involved with that as well. Tell us a little bit about some of those community initiatives that maybe Plains has been involved with.
Well, you mentioned the fires that occurred a couple of years ago, and Sean Roberts, who was the division manager, well, still is for the next few days, he was on the forefront of responding for Plains as the division manager, and in talking with the fire companies, he realized there was a need for some financial resources. And so Plains provided those financial resources, and he came up with a really great idea to host a sporting clay event, and all the proceeds go to the local fire departments.
Okay, that's where that started.
Yeah, and so that was actually Sean's idea, and he's had several ideas like that were really good. He also came up with the idea of putting the 811 logo on some of the small plastic footballs and taking them to high schools and throwing those out to the crowd. And then, of course, as part of that whole process, we got the 811 message out, which is Call Before You Dig, which is a relatively new program. It's been around for the past 10 years or so, and it's been very successful because it is attacks or makes the public aware that third-party damage is something that they need to it needs to be on their mind when they're digging. And so it's really easy. You just make a call to the 811 call center. Mm-hmm. It's free. You have to wait 48 hours in most states before you can dig, so there's a little planning that goes on. But by doing the things like Sean came up with by throwing the footballs out, it's another way to get that message out to the folks. Yeah. We also donate our time to some local charities, like Love Inc. is one that will, the employees will deliver Christmas baskets and things like that. Then we host, we're one of the old companies that hosts the Barbecue and Blues, which is a fundraiser for the Cushing Chamber of Commerce. And that's a big event that everybody has a really good time at. So Absolutely. We do things like that. We also have done some radio sponsorships, and like your program here, we sponsor it and help out with it.
Well, that's something we've done a lot in playing that 811 message and seeing that visual there, has been a good opportunity to get that public awareness message out. And there's several of those things I think that over time that we hope to continue to be utilized as a tool for that as well. But anyway, you guys are just involved in a lot of things, and I know that you support. I mean, you guys contract a lot out with the ancillary companies here in the community that provide work for you, and it's just really infused our economy here, and we've seen a great boom with that.
Oh yeah, well I started with Plains in 2003, and Cushing's really kind of boomed. There's a lot of new businesses have gone in, and it's really neat to see. And I think Plains is, I think we feel that we're a good corporate citizen, and there's a lot of other old companies around here that do the same. Yeah. So I think it has been a nice symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, it's been great. What is the final message as we close this out here? Is there any specific message that I think is important for Plains to have the community know about?
Well, I think first and foremost, the message we like to send is that Plains has a really good heart, and it tries its best to operate in a safe manner, but we need help from the public. And the 811 program that we talked about before is one of the ways that the public can help us, because by calling before they dig, we can go out and we can let them know that it's safe to dig, or we can flag our assets, our pipelines, and let them know that it's not safe to dig in this area, or they need to proceed with caution. And so that's the number one message, because if we can eliminate third-party damage to our pipelines, then you eliminate the number one cause right now of releases of products, crude oil and gas and things like that.
Well, it's been great to have you in studio here today, Kevin, and we appreciate Plains All-American Pipeline and their support and what they mean to our community. And this is going to wrap it up for this edition of our Focus on Energy.